All right, so this should be pretty cool. This is going to be episode 1 of season 2 where they're all going to see our faces as we're talking. So I thought it would be a opportunistic an episode where we have an opportunity to introduce the one that has made Nick and I parents, fathers, and the source of Fathernetics, if you will, that's kind of gotten us all to kind of reach out and try to expand communities online as I adjust my camera here for my better light. So with us is
Welcome to Fathernetics, Fatherhood Unfiltered. I'm Jameel. Welcome to the podcast.
Do it. You can never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up, cause it kamikaze. Go ahead and try, baby. You are gonna see that you'll never ever find somebody do it like me.
is Jacob, who is my son, and he's been with us since he's been 4 years old. He's very aware of his adoption journey, and we've been more than blessed to have him in our lives. So say hi, Jacob.
Hello.
Hello. So I thought what we would do today is just kind of have a brief chat with Jacob. Jacob has prepared 10 different questions that he's going to ask me as a part of this Fathernetics exercise. So he's going to be the interviewer for a change, and I'm going to try to answer those questions as best as I can from a father perspective. Some of them, if not all of them, are personal. But before we do that, Jacob, you just started 7th grade. How are you liking it so far?
It's cool and all, but I don't like that there's like a like the classes are all spreaded around like different campuses. Like I have to cross a lot of like the room and stuff. I don't
So
know.
there's a difference from your last school where you had one teacher and then multiple subjects. And now you've gone to what? What's the big difference?
7 teachers and 7 different subjects.
Right. So now you're going to be learning a lot, drinking through the fire hose, as we call it. And I've been telling a lot of people on Fathernetics that it's been a change for you, a little bumpy at first, but you're finding your sea legs. You're having fun. You're meeting some new friends. You have some friends from your old school that are also going to your new school, which kind of helps too, right? And you
Right.
get to sit with at lunch and hang out with them. How do you feel that helps, that you already know people that go to that school and that you get to see every day? You don't have to start from scratch.
It just helps me a lot because I feel better and like when I go to school, I just can see my friends and not like be like the odd one out with like with not knowing anybody there. So it's
Yeah,
cool to
fair
my friends
enough.
there.
Fair enough. When I moved from Panama into middle school, it was a slight change for me as well because I went from one school, one classroom to the many teachers also, and moved to a different country at the same time. So it was very challenging for me. My first and second year in middle school were my formidable years, for lack of a better term. Anyway, so you play basketball now. You used to play football. That's your favorite sport now. What is your favorite team that you're following in the NFL?
Um, so my favorite team in the NFL is um the Ravens, Baltimore Ravens.
Okay, so why the Ravens? Why
Cause
are they cool?
they have a very good QB, Lamar Jackson. He's like really good at throwing and like he's also like really good for running. Like if there's no one open, he can like he's very fast, so he can run to get like first down or touchdown or the yards that they need. And they also have really good receivers and defense too.
Okay, so what about NBA? Who's your
Uh,
favorite
my
team on the
favorite
NBA side?
my favorite NBA team right now would probably be the Minnesota Timberwolves because they have
They
Anthony
won the
Edwards.
championship last year, right?
No,
No.
I don't think so. Because last
Who won
year,
last year?
I think
You don't even know.
it was like
I'll put it up on the screen here and let people know who won last year.
Yeah.
I don't follow to the detail. I can watch a basketball game, as you know, and I think we've have we gone to? No, we haven't gone to one yet. We've been to a baseball game, which 5 innings of a baseball game is enough for me, but there's 7 innings, so we know how that goes. What other teams do you follow?
I also follow um the what are they called again?
Is this
OKC,
basketball?
the
Oklahoma
yeah,
Thunders,
yeah, and the Lakers and
Lakers.
uh
That's your TS favorite team.
yeah, and the Grizzlies. I like a lot of like the teams that have like good dunkers and stuff, and the Warriors.
Good dunkers. All right. All right. So let's get into some questions. Ask me some questions. We'll have some chit chat. I may bounce some questions back to you. So we'll try to keep it at about 45 minutes ish for this first episode, but let's rock it.
All right. So my first question is, did you ever get in trouble at school, and what for?
So I was a very good student at in school. It was very rare for me to get into trouble that I started. Now, in middle school, I had a lot of issues with people bullying me because I looked different, because I spoke Spanish. My haircut was at least a year behind the times in the United States. My clothes were also, not trendy. When we moved to the United States, my parents shopped at abuelo and abuela shopped at Payless and like Walmart and stuff like. I mean, they sold clothes, they sold shoes. Anybody moving to this country would assume that would be okay. But kids tend to have their own opinions,
Yeah.
as we know, and sometimes they make fun of the most innocuous stuff, and that makes you feel a little bit weird. And that's some of the concerns that I always have for you when you go to school. Make sure you look the part, right? You've ironed your clothes, you look clean, you brush your teeth, and we hound you about that all the time. But um, I would say that I only had one issue in school where the bully got a little bit out of control, and dad had to get involved. But that was not something that I started. It was something that dad finished somehow. He went to the school and had a conversation with somebody and resolved it. But I was always a very shy kid. I was very introvert kid, which is very different than how I am today. So I grew out of that really quickly. Good question, though.
Thanks.
What's the next one?
My second question is, what is one rule you hated from your parents that secretly makes sense now?
um, that is a good one. I think that, growing up in Panama, one of the biggest rules was you must be in the house when the street lights come on. And that was always a rub for me because we're always outside with our friends. We grew up in a very small town. You've been there when you visited Panama. So everybody knew everybody, all the kids knew everybody, all the adults knew everybody. And usually I would adhere to that. Street lights come on, I'm inside. But one time I did not. I noticed the street lights were on and I ignored it because I was in front of my grandmother's house. So I assumed I was okay. I mean, you look out the window, you could see me. But the rules are the rules. And because I did not adhere to the rules, grandma came out of the house and was really bothered by that, to the point where I was embarrassed in front of my friends. Needless to say, I didn't do that again. So following the rules is important regardless of the conditions. But it makes sense now because as an adult, you always want to make sure there's some sort of a routine that kids can adhere to. When it gets dark, it is just safer to be in the house, especially if you are um, out of sight, right?
Right.
My grandmother would know I was outside. I could be anywhere in the town, right? But when the street lights come on, it doesn't matter where I am, I should be in the house. So whether she could see me, I didn't know that she could or couldn't. She probably didn't even check. But what she did know is the streetlights were on and I wasn't inside. So that made her worry about where I was. So I understand that now even more so deeply as a dad. Which is why we don't really let you outside when it's pitch black. Because I mean, what are you doing out there? It's dark.
Right. The third question is, if you could go back and give 13-year-old you advice, what would that advice be?
Wow. Okay, so 13-year-old me was again in middle school. This would have been 8th grade? No, was it? Wow. Either in 8th grade or a freshman in high school. And I
Wait,
think
what?
that transition for me
How would you be a freshman and only 13?
smart. So I graduated high school when I was 17. So I spent 4 years in high school, which makes me 13 as a freshman or 13 in 8th grade in Texas. Yeah, thank you. Um, but those years were formidable for me because I was still dealing with trying to understand who I was as an individual coming out of Panama. I had a chance to kind of re-envision myself. So what I would tell myself if I had a chance to speak to my 13-year-old self is to stay the course, be patient, and make more friends. I wish I did have more friends in high school. I didn't have a lot of friends in high school. That was by choice. It was kind of a protection mode, if you will. All the people that I got close to in middle school ended up not being nice to me. So I decided not to have friends. And had I had a whole bunch of friends like you will in high school, my experience may have been different. I may have been a different person today.
Yeah, I mean, you've come a long way. I mean, you got nice cars and a nice house. And yeah,
Yes, we live a very comfortable life and I am eternally grateful for that. What daddy and myself, I'm dad, Nicholas's daddy, but I'm very grateful for what we both can provide for our family. So we're very happy about that.
all right. The fourth question is, when did you realize you wanted to be a dad?
I would say when we moved to Phoenix was the first time, not the first time, but was really the culmination of the readiness to be a dad. I'm the one that kind of tapped daddy on the shoulder and saying, "Hey, let's revisit this conversation. Are you ready?" Yeah, he's ready. I'm ready. We're ready. Let's do it. So I think that's the time that we decided to actually do it. When did I first realize I wanted to be a dad? That's a tough one. I kind of think I always wanted to be one in the back of my head, but it wasn't like I was 18 saying I want to be a dad one day. I knew it would come inevitably. I knew that was part of my destiny. It's my origin story as a superhero.
So, yeah. All right. Fifth question. What's the hardest part about being a dad that you did not expect?
The hardest part about being a dad is recognizing that I have to change a lot of things about myself in order to be the right kind of dad or the dad that I want to be. So what do I mean by that? Um, I was a different person before I was a dad, right? I was either single before I met Nicholas, your daddy, or I was an individual that was just married to another person. So we got to do and behave differently than we did before I was a dad. So becoming a dad made things more serious. It made me have to think about the way that I react to things, what I say, things that we watch on TV. It makes me think about what we want to um, provide for you, how we want to live as a family, the things that we want to the things we want to expose you to, and really being intentional about you engaging with the rest of our family, right? Abuelo, abuela, tío, tía, and all your cousins. We really wanted to make sure to fold you in really nice and neat into our family dynamic as well. So those are the changes that I went through. The unexpected pieces is just really having to pay attention to my own behavior to make sure that I was modeling how I wanted you to be once you became a young man.
Nice, nice. All
I
right.
know, I know.
Sixth question. Do you ever get scared you're not doing a good job as a dad?
Every day, every day. And I think you and I have talked about this, Jacob. Daddy and I's desire is always to make sure that you are as happy as can be. But the road to happiness always comes with structure, right? You got to do A in order to get B. Um, you have to have good grades in order to have some freedoms, right? The more you go in the opposite direction, the direction that says you're not following instructions or you're not completing the task that you're supposed to complete because like the trash. Who wants to take the trash out? No one wants to take the trash out, but the trash has to be taken out because it's creating a sense of responsibility within the house. That's not something you as a kid would fully grasp right now. All you know is you don't want to do the trash. But when you are older and perhaps even a parent, you're going to go, yeah, now I'm the one chasing my kid to take out the trash and look at the problems I'm having. So
Yeah,
it's
when I do
cyclical,
become,
right?
when I do become a parent, then that's probably gonna be my favorite thing, like telling them take out the trash.
Well, there you go. There you go. I used to take out the trash as well. My brother used to take out the trash. We used to have to cut the lawn every weekend, and if we either didn't get chore money or we didn't get to do some of the cool things that we wanted to do at the time. So every kid goes through this. It's part of learning that you just can't exist. You have to contribute in some way, shape, or form to the house, right? It's not a
Right,
job, it's just contributing because you exist here for free. So the things that we're asking all of us to do, because it's not just you doing things, right? You're not doing everything in the house. We are all doing things in the house and we all need to pull our own weight.
correct.
Now
What
you guys
is
don't
one
knock me because I'm drinking
thing?
a Rockstar.
What is one thing about me that remind you about yourself?
I think sometimes you can be stubborn. I have a stubborn streak as well. Some of the things that you do, let's see. I think you have a very inquisitive mind. You ask a lot of questions. You like to watch some, not all of the shows that I like to watch. You are the type of kid that's like, I don't want to watch that. And as soon as you start watching it, all of a sudden it's like the favorite thing in the world. So you have that resistance to anything that you're not familiar to, which reminds me a little bit about myself in the past. Certainly not today. Today I jump into things head first. But there are a lot of things that you do, and every now and again, a little bit of the things that you do will remind me of me. Not all of it, but a little bit will. And it just kind of lets me know that I need to either lay off or take a step back or take a breather or make sure to reward because those things need the type of water and attention that we should all be giving it.
What is one thing you admire about me that you wish you had at my age?
So one thing is at your age, you're an extrovert. You know what that means?
Kind of.
Okay, so an extrovert is someone who really thrives on other people being around, right? You feed off of high energy, in my opinion. So where you get the most rest is when other people are around. That to me is what an extrovert is. Whereas Daddy and myself, we get the most rest when no one is around and it's really quiet, right? You see
Right.
Daddy a lot, he reads a lot of books or, he's in a space where he's by himself. Not all the time, but that's, if he can find it, that's what he's going to do. And I do something similar as well. You, on the other hand, love to interact. You have a lot of friends. You talk to people. You're very engaging, very outgoing. I was not like that at your age. Um, I was very reserved and introverted. Now, obviously, since then, I've grown out of that. I can engage people directly, and I talk to people, strangers, all the time. I use people's name tags when they're in the store or restaurants. And now I have this podcast where I'm talking to a large group of dads and uncles and brothers and people in professional spaces just to get, feedback on how they are identifying fatherhood from either their perspective or things that they've seen out there in the world. So I do wish I had that at your age, but I don't regret being an introverted individual. I think there are some bonuses to having that perspective as well.
How has being my dad changed you?
I think I am more attentive to my surroundings. Um, I've always been a situationally aware individual. Like I know what's going on, but now that I'm a dad, I'm paying more attention. Like when you're going to school, what's happening at school, what are your teachers saying, what are the potential next steps that I need to take in advance to try to help Jacob out. How's Jacob feeling? So I'm more in tuned with you. Being a parent has also made daddy and I more in tune with ourselves and each other, because now we have to be on the same page with how we're parenting you, the things that we're communicating to you. If we have different opinions on certain things, now we have to have conversations about that between ourselves so that we can come to you with the same thoughts, the same plan, which is why we always say, if daddy said no, then I'm saying no too. That's how we can be confident in doing that, because oftentimes we've already had those conversations. You just don't know it. So it has changed me so that I am more well-rounded, more aware of my own emotions. And, of course, therapy helps with that as well. So,
Nice, nice. How who no. Who was your hero when you were a kid?
Abuelo was my hero. Growing up as a kid, I could say most kids, not all, most kids wanted to be like their dad when they grew up, right? Because dad was the one providing for the house along with mom, sure. But dad and mom were going out and coming back. I used to go to karate with my dad, and for a while that was fun until it wasn't. But that was always something that was kind of fun to do. We got to do a lot of military trips with my dad, who worked for the US military as a civilian, so we got to ride in things like, the tanks that were decommissioned, um Apache helicopters, and we got to see what do you call them, the F-16s up close. We got to see those up close, which is not something a lot of kids get to do, right, from the military. And then growing up in Panama, we got to see a lot of cool, the car ship carriers that are on the Panama Canal, the boats, the giant boats. Um, but a lot of that was from seeing dad being a communicator. He was always on stage giving some speech or receiving some sort of an award, which was pretty much how my grandfather navigated the world as well. He was always getting some sort of a award, or someone was excited to see him, or he was contributing to the community in one way or another, which is what abuelo does today, to this day. And so does abuela as well. So not just him, but abuela, my mom, both heroes today in my world. And I recognize and I'm appreciative of that, because not every kid has a chance to grow up with parents that they are fans of. They have to kind of rebalance things and find the nuggets of gold where they can.
Nice.
All right. So was that the last question?
That was the last question.
Awesome. So I know for a while you wanted to be on an episode of Fathernetics, and I've told you since even before starting season 1 that you were going to be on one of these episodes. So this is that opportunity to be on that episode, and this is going to be a short one, but that's okay because it's a good intro to season 2. Any other questions, thoughts? You wanna shout out some of your friends?
Um, I would like to shout out my friends Dalton and
We love
Raf-
Dalton and his family.
Micah
Micah, Micah
and
and his family, they're
Lucas
cool people. And
and
Lucas, yep.
Alan
I don't know Alan. Do I know Alan?
Talon
Talon. Oh, yes, we know Talon.
and Jason
And Jason.
and Gia.
And the list goes on. All right, Jacob. Well, thanks for joining me on episode 1 of Fathernetics season 2. This should be streaming or will be streaming on YouTube where everybody can see the visuals, our faces, and can hear our voices. But again, it will continue to stream in the audio format on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and everywhere else that you get your podcast listening joy from. All right, son. I love you. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.
You can never find somebody do it like me. I'ma turn it all the way up cause it